primarily explore some of the areas from cybersecurity standpoint. We work with deliveries here as well. Working on cybersecurity projects. I thought in next 12-13 minutes I'll talk about some of the trends, pieces that we are observing. See, Fortinet as an organization is a cybersecurity solution provider. We build products, we work on cybersecurity research, we work with multiple governments worldwide, we work with multiple businesses worldwide. So we also do good amount of research and development in terms of figuring out what's happening in cybersecurity space and then build solutions. So I'm going to share some of the findings that we have, some of the observations that we have, and how the cybersecurity world is evolving, how it's impacting all of us. Before I get there, I want to probably quickly talk about why we are seeing the cybersecurity piece is becoming so crucial. We were just listening to how we are looking at India as a economy. We are probably all set to become the third largest economy. Currently, we are the fifth largest economy, growing pretty fast. And many of the areas where we are seeing growth are also kind of predicated on the digital acceleration that we have seen in the last 6 to 7 years. And when you leverage digital acceleration, digital transformation in your day-to-day life, whether the way we do business, the way we educate our kids, the way we learn, the way we play, the way we build newer businesses, it's all based on digital initiatives that we are seeing. Many of the citizen services, the work the government is doing is also based on the digital acceleration or transformation that we are seeing. When that happens, while it becomes much easier for us to leverage those services, leverage those businesses, at the same time we make it easier for our adversaries also to come and attack us. We give them a larger attack surface per se. The way I look at digital acceleration, which is immensely important for our growth, I also parallelly see cybersecurity being a very crucial role now. The reason being is look at a business. Let's say tomorrow, today you all use those UPI apps. If I tell you that one of those UPI apps has no cybersecurity principle involved or currently calculated into it, and it's all risky, probably you'll stop using it tomorrow. Similarly, if I tell you a bank is offering very secure services, but every time you want to do a transaction, you have to go sit in the branch and work with a person there. That business will also go down. So that means there have to be an equal balance which has to be between digital and cybersecurity piece. And that's where we be very particular about how we look at the cybersecurity piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about the threats that we are seeing from cybersecurity standpoint. What is that India is dealing with right now. The technology evolution, the trends that we are seeing which are coming up and shaping the way we should look at cybersecurity per se. And then I'll also probably spend a couple of minutes talking about what, as an organization, as a responsible cybersecurity solution provider, what Fortinet is doing with the government and the other agencies worldwide, how we are building solutions here to address that problem and still continue to accelerate on digital adoption for many organizations. So let me quickly start with the threat landscape that we are seeing. Primarily, the data that you see on the screen is built on our own research. We serve close to about 40,000 organizations in India, many of them being the government organizations and many citizen services project solutions being used to secure those environments. And there's a 500-member team called FortiGuard Labs, which does the R&D and monitors which are the adversaries, monitors which are the attackers, monitors what they are targeting. So the first set of actors that I'm going to talk about is called APT actors. Can I go back to the chart? I think we came on to the other chart. The APT actors, primarily APT when we're talking about the advanced persistent threat actors. Why we are kind of categorizing them as advanced persistent threat? Because they're very persistent. They pick up very few targets and they are very persistent in their efforts till the time they break it. Their idea is not to gain something financially. Their idea is to break into the system, stay there, surveil, look at the information available, try and gain more information for their own benefit as well. So the APT actors that you see, which are the organizations that they're targeting, 20% of them are focused on all government entities. The second piece that they look at is the aerospace and defense space. 11% of them, from Indian subcontinent perspective, they're focused on the defense and aerospace because I think the idea is to surveil the government organization of what's happening from Indian economy perspective. Idea is to look at what's happening from the defense and aerospace perspective. The second two segments that you see, the third and fourth, manufacturing and mining, because that's where you see a lot of trade secrets per se. And the telecom and technology sector primarily because that provides the backbone of our digital economy. That runs. So if you gain access to those infrastructures, you of course you get a lot of information to play with. The kind of actors who are targeting, these Indian entities, the number one is a group called APT28. This APT28 group primarily is came to a lot of limelight when they were actually credited or I would say discredited primarily for the election between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. So they were the ones who actually influenced that one. They are targeting a lot of government as well. The second set of groups that we normally track are the activist groups. The activist groups are primarily, the ones which are motivated by some social or political agenda. They have their own agenda they want to point. They normally again do not try and gain something monetarily. They work to prove their point. They want to primarily provide their messages. So they normally do the website defacement. They will disrupt services, and these groups primarily try and pass on the message that they have. So if you look at from India perspective, the group called Lamar to Nasa, that's a pro-Palestinian group which is very focused on India, and there are many activities where they have been successful in defacing and disrupting services from Indian organizations perspective. The next one that you see, Anand Black Flag, that's an Indonesian group. Then you see the group. Can you go back, please? The group, the Ganesha, that's again an Indonesian group which is targeting Indian entities and defacements and other activities, certain activities that you see. You'll also see a small name called, there is an entity from Pakistan as well called Team Insane. They're also putting large amount of attacks on the Indian entities from the defacement perspective. If I go to the next chart, you will see the third group, which is the darknet actors. The darknet is primarily the area where which is non-monitored internet, which is uncontrolled internet, and that's where all the I would say the criminal activities take place. Not only the cyber criminal activities from all sorts of all illegal trades will happen there, whether it's drugs, whether it's weapons, all of those activities happen there. These actors primarily also coordinate to make sure that the larger cyber attacks take place and they work together with each other per se. So they target onto the entities primarily where they can make money. So BFSI and software and IT services are the top targets because here the idea is to make money out of their successful campaigns per se. So you'll see the group like Scodiki, Voxbit. You will see one group called Ratnik. The Ratnik group is a group that focuses primarily on military and government operations, and that's a group which is primarily based out of Russia. So that's a group which targets Indian peace as well. If I can go to the next chart. What we did was we looked at the top 100, top 150 attacks, and we got deeper breaches which were successful. Trying to understand what is the modus operandi, what is it that they are trying to do, how are they successful, and when we evaluated those attacks and researched on those attacks and successful breaches, what we figured out certain findings that we had. I'll talk about the 25 of the top 100 attacks had absolutely no reason that could be kind of developed out of it after research saying that okay, this was the reason why the issue happened. Unknown issues. Why? Primarily when the attack from where it originated, where it actually happened, or where the first infection happened in the environment, they had no visibility. There were no tools, there were no solutions available to capture what was happening there. Ransomware continues to be the top three threats. Primarily money comes out. They fund themselves with the ransomware campaigns. But I'll tell you something very interesting on ransomware. Every year we were seeing till last year the ransomware volume was going up. Now the volume is going down. It has gone down by 70%, but the ransom value is still gone up. That means these guys are very, very focused. They pick up only one or two targets and they will continue going after. They call it big game hunting. That means you get one, and instead of asking for $100 or $200 ransom, which was the case about 4 or 5 years back, now they ask for ransom of $3 million or $5 million or $10 million. that's the change that we are seeing. Public sector industries, or the organizations are most targeted. 43% of them continue to focus on the government entities because they believe the crown jewels are actually there in that segment. They've also seen the use of AI for generating attacks, or spraying those attacks in the larger attack surface, is being attacked with leveraging AI there. We are seeing, the stolen and weak credentials being one of the very, very common reasons for the attackers to be successful. Insider threat is becoming very, very common. That means we are seeing the insiders either malintention or compromised insider are becoming a catalyst to these cyber attacks, being successful. If I can go to the next, I will talk about some of the learnings that we see that which we clearly need to probably work upon. One being the visibility of the entire process. You can't, protect against, something that you're not seeing. So the tools and cybersecurity infrastructure has to give that visibility of the environment. The risk assessment becomes a very, very important. Many a times the organizations are not even aware what are the risks that they are living. If the understanding of the risk and the assessment of the risks are properly done, then steps can be taken to oppose either add solution or make some changes in the policies to mitigate that risk. The security controls, there are now enough tools, enough models, or I would say frameworks available that can be adopted to build or strengthen the cybersecurity controls per se. The incident response now. See, gone are the days that we could say that okay, we will be able to prevent all cyber attacks. It's not going to happen. There will be cyber attacks, it will be successful. So we need a better incident response now. We need a better continuity in terms of how do you come back into the business quickly. So if there is an attack, how do you quickly respond to it and take action is going to be very, very crucial per se. And the newer technologies can be embraced. Things like AI can be leveraged to be faster in terms of generating response, and during the attack phase you can do better detection per se. Last but not the least, I think one very important piece that we learn is building human firewalls. The concept of human firewalls primarily is that the entire organization is aware of cybersecurity. They understand how they need to behave when it comes to digital ecosystems or IT infrastructures per se. And that's where the scaling becomes very, very crucial. One scaling is that you are the custodian of the organization and you're working on cybersecurity. Second scaling is that you understand in the environment that you operate. You are able to identify what is a good mail or what is a bad mail per se. So that's the piece that we believe are very, very important from learning's perspective. Let me quickly talk about how the technology piece is, driving the cybersecurity as well. The way we work, I said, of course, COVID changed a lot of it. We now work in a hybrid environment where people are working from multiple places, applications are reaching out to them. So there are primarily three, normally we track about 6 things, but primarily three that I've probably spent a minute about and talking about what we're seeing from the cybersecurity standpoint. One is a concept called platformization from cybersecurity standpoint. Second is the convergence of IT and OT technology. Third, I will talk about the AI. If I can go to the next shot, the first one, let me quickly spend 1 minute on the platform. See, over a period of last 15, 20 years, a lot of technologies and tools have been developed from cybersecurity. An organization typically uses about 50 different technologies to protect their cybersecurity. But at the end of the day, when the attack takes place, you are actually going to multiple sources and not able to put all of them together. So now the concept is how do we build the capabilities of saying that okay, I have the capability of responding to threats in let's say this particular time frame. I have the capability of coming out of the attack in this particular time frame. And that's where the platformization comes in, where technologies come together and work together, leverage the context, leverage the intelligence with each other, and take action. And many times this can be automated. So you say that okay, I have a capability of detecting a threat in less than 1 minute. I have a capability of responding to the threat less than 30 seconds. That's the capability that we're talking about, the platform perspective. The second piece, as I said, if we can go to the next chart, is the AI piece. I think AI, while it is working for our adversaries, it also can be a great tool for ourselves. Many of the organizations are leveraging it, and I'll tell you how. Looking at from the proactive defense, mechanism or the capabilities that you can build leveraging AI, to the reactive response mechanism. You can all map it to the typical warfare that you see in a general scenario than to a cyber warfare. What do you want to do proactively? If you want to see some malicious activity, some anomalies in the behavior, you want someone to quickly take action and block the access, right? The guy should not be able to do further. AI can do this and is actually doing, in many cases, automating it as well. Similarly, for reactive, when you are working on a response plan, how do you gather more and more information about the entire attack? This AI can quickly bring it all together, for you. Similarly, the typical mundane activities can be handed over to AI. It can also help you address the skill gap. You don't need to now hire 100 professionals which are all trained on cybersecurity deeply, but AI can actually bring all that capability to you because it can generate those automated playbooks and run those and response plan. All of those things can be done, leveraging AI. If we can go to the next one, the third piece from cybersecurity piece is the IT and OT convergence. No longer we are seeing that OT can still be a air gap system. The benefits of digitization will come only when they work together, and that's where we are seeing the convergence of it. So that means the cybersecurity controls that you had for IT has to extend to OT environment, and this is where a new concept of cyber physical systems is coming, CPS, and so now cybersecurity strategies are being built for overall environment where you cover not only IT, you cover OT as well, and the controls are extended to entire environment. So you secure that environment as well. Quickly, I'll probably spend 2 more minutes and we'll talk about what we are doing as Codeate as an organization as a responsible cybersecurity solution provider in the piece. The first piece is building a kind of a platform where these smaller gaps that we see from IT environment perspective can be addressed. So we are working and we are very focused on something called as convergence of networking environment and a security environment, so that you have a common capability of secure network. That means you're not worried about where your user is, you're not worried about where your device is, you're able to extend the cybersecurity control. Similarly, there's a concept called secure access services. That's where we say that the concept of hosting an application at one place or in a specific cloud and user being able to access the application only from a specific device, that all those borders get diminished. Leveraging SASE. That means user can be anywhere, application can be anywhere, he can use any kind of machine, but you are still able to control all the behavior, still able to control all the activities, you are still able to see the, have the visibility of what he's doing. And last piece is the day-to-day operations. The security operations are very crucial. That's where we are bringing AI to ensure that you don't have to hire hundreds of people for day-to-day operations. You are monitoring everything, you have the visibility, and you're able to take action quickly, leveraging AI, per se, as well. We very strongly believe that there is no one single organization or one single vendor which can solve the cybersecurity. So what we also do, we work with the larger ecosystem, we work with the larger agencies and the organizations worldwide to ensure that we come together, so that we all fight the adversaries together. So that's where we have our collaboration with organizations like Interpol, World Economic Forum, NATO, then MITRE, and then multiple different swords worldwide. We gather intelligence, we share intelligence, we talk to each other, we work together to ensure we together are able to address cybersecurity challenges. We are also very focused on building cybersecurity skills. We have a very strong education program called Codeate Training Institute, an NSC program. So we pledged to train 1 million cybersecurity professionals by 2026, and that program has been extended to India as well. In India, we actually signed on the Atal program with AICTE, where we offered 100,000 internships, cybersecurity internships. This is last year we signed up on this program, which is continuing. These are internships which are offered through AICTE. We've also signed up a program with CERT India very recently, where we said that we will bring in the advanced training programs to certain larger Indian organizations, and that's where the K-12 cybersecurity awareness program is also being done. It's a very new one that we announced about a month back, and we're going to focus more on this piece. So that's all that I had primarily, to quickly, talk about. My belief is very simple. If the digitization has, if you all plan it well, it can actually work on our advantage, and we can leverage this digital acceleration more and more and build India a much stronger and much bigger economy. Thanks so much.
I request our panelist, Lieutenant General M.U. Nair, to please join us on the stage. Lieutenant General M.U. Nair, Paramashir Seva Medal, Atibashir Seva Medal, Sena Medal, is an experienced cybersecurity mentor who has talented the appointment of National Cybersecurity Coordinator in the National Security Council Secretary, Government of India, with effect from 1st July 2023. In this capacity, he is responsible for coordinating all activities across multiple sectors to ensure a secure and resilient cyberspace in the country. Jal Nair was commissioned into the Corps of Signals of the Indian Army in 1984. He has held several key appointments at all levels of military hierarchy. He was also instrumental in steering several key projects on AI, quantum, cryptology, and cyber operations while serving with the armed forces. He was the signal officer in chief of the Indian Army when he took up the assignment of the National Cybersecurity Coordinator with effect from 1st July 2023. He retired from the active service on 31st May 2024. I now request Lieutenant General Vinod Kandari to please join us on the stage. Lieutenant General Vinod Kandari, Paramashir Seva Medal, Atibashir Seva Medal, Sena Medal, was military advisor to the National Security Council Secretary under the Prime Minister's office. He was Director General Defense Intelligence Agency and Deputy Chief Integrated Defense Staff for Intelligence. Lieutenant General Kandari served in the Indian Army for nearly 4 decades. Serving in infantry, he excelled in challenging terrain, sectors, operational roles in Siachen, Jammu and Kashmir, Sikkim, and Northeast region. He is an expert on conventional operations, sub-conventional counter-terrorism operations, information warfare, conflict prevention, and peacekeeping operations. Presently, he is serving as the principal advisor to the Ministry of Defense since 2022. Please join me in welcoming Commodore Manish Anand. Commodore Manish Anand is a second generation serving defense officer and alumni of National Defense Academy and Defense DSSC Wellington. An electrical officer, he was commissioned on 1st January 1992. Academically, he holds two postgraduate degrees, including ME in Electronics and Telecommunications and MSc in Defense and Strategic Studies. The officer has held varied responsibilities in his career span over 30 decades, including 3 tenures in VESI, the premier technological establishment of the Indian Navy, and has been instrumental in steering several cybersecurity initiatives of the Navy, as well as pioneered the CMMI implementation at VESI. I request Air Vice Marshal Dr. Devesh Vats, BSM, to please join us on the stage. Air Marshal Dr. Devesh Vats is a former Commandant of Aviation Software Development Institute of the Indian Air Force and Assistant Chief of Staff Communication. Presently, he is working at DSCI NASCOM as advisor, cybersecurity and critical technologies. To moderate this panel discussion, I welcome Ms. Manmeet Randhawa and request her to please join us on stage. Manmeet Randhawa is an experienced marketing and communication leader with over 15 years of expertise, specializing in strategic alliances, corporate social responsibility, and stakeholder management. She has successfully managed key projects for clients such as Meta, Microsoft, AWS, and many more, driving collaborations between corporations, law enforcement agencies, and government ministries. Her strategic leadership has been instrumental in launching and executing impactful campaigns, including the Cyber Raksha Kavach initiative, which provided cybersecurity training to over 1,500 MSMEs, helping enhance digital security and resilience among small businesses. In her last role as head of corporate communications at India Future Foundation, Manmeet played a key role in managing high-profile CSR initiatives, building effective partnerships, and steering project communication to achieve lasting impact. In addition to her corporate role, she is currently freelancing for various organizations in the areas of strategic alliances, partnerships, marketing, and communications. She was featured in Women Entrepreneur magazine for her leadership and contribution to the industry. May I request for a group photograph before we start the panel, please? A warm welcome to everyone. Thank you so much for coming over and being a part of this cybersecurity panel discussion that we have today as a part of Indian Military Heritage Festival. We have already heard from Vivek as to what are the threat vectors and why we need to be upbeat. So I'll straight away land my question to General Bhandari. That given the focus on cybersecurity at this military festival, how does India's defense sector view cyber warfare within the broader context of national security?
Thank you, Manmeet, and it's always nice to see a full house, maybe because it's a small room. But anyway, coming to cyber, firstly, who's our adversary in cyber? That is the first question we've got to ask. It's not like there is a boundary on a map and there are people on the other side and they seem to be our adversaries. In cyber, who otherwise in diplomatic terms may be a friend, maybe an enemy or an adversary in cyber. So that is the first thing we have to remember. Secondly, are you looking at cyber warriors from your adversary side to be only degree holders or PhD holders? You'll be surprised. There are people from madrasas who are extremely good at getting past all your firewalls which have been made by IITians. I have no disrespect for IITians, but I'm just telling you that I have seen how madrasa operators also get past. So how do we look at it in the government? We have to be all encompassing. You look at USA, CIA, FBI thought they were impenetrable. A young kid from UK was able to get into the CIA network and get the phone number which was otherwise unlisted. And then with the help of UK government, that boy was imprisoned, and there was another one from USA. And today, after serving a sentence of 1 year and 5 years, they are into cyber security. So obviously, you look at it, those who can steal should protect. So that is the viewpoint where we have to make a departure from a formal kind of an education to looking at whole of society, whole of nation to spot talent. Is talent spotting correct today? I have a big question mark on that. You look at how we are going ahead with our growth in defense production, research and development. Private sector, public sector, if they want to spend less attention or money on cyber defense, then you have a case as we had in one of the private sector where for 7 days there was ransomware and that private sector firm could not move an inch. And then within a month or so, that same industry, I don't know how much money they would have paid, but within a month there were 3 blasts in that particular industry. So what could be a non-kinetic thing can get converted into kinetic if you do not pay adequate attention to cyber. So overall, I think even the policy makers and the practitioners have to look at all these things. And again, in cyber or in any other field, people only look at gladiators, that is attackers. So in a soccer match, only the center forward who goes and scores a goal. What about the others who have to protect the goal? So in a society like 1.4 billion, Marshal Sadhya was mentioning, each and everyone has to do defense. Each and everyone has to be that much more educated, literate and accountable. If you are not going to protect your own surface, you don't expect others to come and give you a solution. And last point before I hand over, because I know time is short. The last point I want to make is we have various mechanisms from the security side engaging with human capital, the NCC cadets who are on the other side. What is our mechanism for talent spotting when they are young? If they are young, spotted, they have a longer reach, they will be able to tell us of our vulnerabilities. But if you are going to segregate and make it that only qualified people are going to be, no, we will be going wrong. So that these are the few points I thought I want to make.
Thank you, Chairman Khandari. Very valid points. My next question is to you, Chairman Nayak. That how well you think we have transitioned from traditional military and we prepare for cyber warfare? Because now if you see the Russian-Ukraine conflict, or you see how North Korea is trying to penetrate, or how other countries, even the Israel, Israel is supposed to be one of the best in cybersecurity and cyber warfare. Even they are getting dragged down with it. So how well do you think we have transitioned from the traditional military operations to cyber warfare, and whether we have the skilled personnel for carrying on this for the Indian military?
Thank you, Vivi. First, I would like to thank the USA for giving me an opportunity to come and speak here. I wanted to just draw your attention to the previous speaker, Vivek, when he showed you the slides. He showed you that 20% of government sector, 11% of defense sector, 8% of dark web is actually being monitored or is attracting malicious threat actors. Why should malicious threat actors be looking at these domains, government sector, defense sector? This is something which all of us need to understand, that are they going to get money from this particular endeavor, or is it just simply they are looking at snooping? Many of these threat actors or state actors or non-state actors who have the backing actually looking at these sectors with the intention to get information, and this is the way the nature of warfare is actually evolving, what which General Khandari just mentioned. So you will realize, I also wanted to draw your attention to one of the facts. If you look at the NPCI's transaction, the UPI transactions which have taken place, on 5th of November, about 520 million rupees of transactions, 520 million transactions have been carried out in a single day, and it's worth about 85,200 crores. Now, this is a quantum of money which actually gets transacted on a single day. You can actually go into the NPCIC and see the statistics. So each of us are actually part of this particular endeavor, including the 1.2 million armed forces personnel, as also all our dependents who are there. So all this, including the children who are there, all of them are carrying smart devices today. So you're all part of an ecosystem where the government's focus is on using this large infrastructure for our welfare, growth of our population at large in terms of their progress, development. So if we are focusing on development through digital outreach like this, any impact on this particular infrastructure through malicious threat actors will have great impact on our security itself, national security. That's why our Honorable Prime Minister did mention multiple times that cyber security today is a national security challenge. And so with that in background, I'm sure the armed forces are very much aware of this. They have actually, in fact, the USA themselves have, I think, a group, a wing, which is primarily looking at cyber today, cyber domain. It's a wonderful initiative. We have the Defense Cyber Agency, which has been raised in 2018-19. We have the services cyber organizations which have been raised. So the armed forces are very much aware of the threats which emanate from the cyberspace. But it's for all of us, the citizens, who are also part of the defense community, who need to understand that there are vulnerabilities in the cyberspace, which each one of us can be impacted. An inadvertent or an advertent mistake or small vulnerability can actually create a national security challenge. Like General Khandari mentioned about the CIA website being hacked into by a child. Now, all this is possible in an ecosystem like ours today. And there's nothing called a perfect cybersecurity because our technology landscape is changing so fast. the vulnerabilities are being detected, new vulnerabilities emerge, and there is an ecosystem which looks at challenges and looking at how to create havoc in this ecosystem. There are criminals at large. You look at the number of cyber crimes which are they're so rampant, digital arrest. So it's our job to protect it, and I'm sure as armed forces we are very much aware. And Mandeep, I think the armed forces are doing a lot in this endeavor. Very much equipped today to handle the challenges which occur in the cyberspace.
Thank you, Charan. So basically, what I wanted, even for the younger kids here, I wanted them to know that how they can get skilled, how they can be a part of this entire movement, and how they can support. So if there is any government initiative or if there is any initiative from the armed forces, wherein they could also benefit.
There are a lot of initiatives which have been taken by the armed forces. First, the National Defense Academy today picks up young children at the age of 16 to 19. So that's an opportunity, it's an UPSC exam and an SSB. Actually, I'm talent which goes into the armed forces through the National Defense Academy, the Indian Military Academy, and it doesn't segregate you from technical, non-technical. It also gives you, access into the armed forces. Even for many, including the Navies, there are specific training capsules we have for technology. We identify the skilled personnel from the ITIs, get them into the armed forces, so that even at that level, we have the requisite skill sets. How do you join the armed forces as a civilian towards the protection of this? I'm sure you're all aware of the initiatives through the TA Directorate, the Territorial Army, where the Territorial Army, you can actually get into the armed forces and support it through that embodiment, which is again an activity which I think has been started by the armed forces very recently. So there are multiple avenues. And if you can't get into the armed forces, you can always support as a private industry, as a part of private industry, because there are a lot of public support, private industrial support to the armed forces, like Fortinet supports quite a bit of our endeavors. So similarly, there are multiple organizations, there are PSUs, DPSUs, which are actually supporting us in our endeavors. So we can actually contribute towards the effort of the armed forces of the nation into nation building in this particular domain.
Thank you. My next question is to Air Vice Marshal Vatse. Emerging technologies such as AI and machine learning are reshaping cybersecurity. So what potential do you see for these technologies to enhance cyber military operations, particularly from the Air Force perspective?
Many, not one. The point is, are we geared up in adopting this technology is a question. Question is not how this AI and ML, or for that matter, any emerging technologies will deliver the results. As Sir has spoken about, and I think, sir, sorry, I got a call from Air Marshal Sachdeva, I'm a 12th man. I'm writing a book, 12th man, because in last 15 days, I'm replacing somebody or the other on a national forum. I don't know how it is happening. But then I realized, way back, I'm a cricket player, so there was a guy called Ravi Shastri. He was not even a 12th man, he was 16th man. And 4 people got injured in Australia, and rest of history was called. So I think I will make a difference, and I'm here right now because of him. The point is, as he has mentioned, the things are happening and happening for good or bad, both. I look cyber security as an opportunity for India, because we are behind. हमेशा जब क्लास में आप चौथे आते हो टीचर बोलता था तुम्हें चांस है 30 नंबर और लाके आगे जाने का जिसके 100 आए उसको कुछ नहीं मिलेगा तो my point is this कि AI has got a fantastic opportunity to be adopted by the Indian Air Force, for that matter any armed forces. Reason is this: it can help you in defensive as well as offensive operation. Why we need technologies? Why we need technologies? We need technologies because we are already reached at a level. We want to enhance that. There is a cybersecurity posture of service speaking about. How do I enhance that? How do I protect my critical infrastructure? I have to get the technology in place. How do I increase my incident response? How do I make my system, resilient from these kind of cyber attacks? So all this AI, when we talk about, AI is a model which needs to be adopted. Why? It can help you in predicting the attacks. It can help you in designing your kind of system so that you can defend those attacks. Like people talk about cyber security, I always say, he will agree with me, cyber security is the past tense. For me, cyber resilience is current tense. What is happening today? And this is also going very fast. We have to think about cyber immune system. And why I'm saying so, AI will help you to become a pundit. You will be having a digital intuition in place. So much of data crunching. You will come to know what is happening, what attack will come from where. This is what is called digital intuition, and we have to build our system into a digital immune system. Why I say so? You all remember Ramayana. There was a demon called Rakt Beej. उसे काटो, खून गिरता है और एक नया राक्षस खड़ा हो जाता है. तो साइबर सिक्योरिटी ऐसी होनी चाहिए, अटैक करते रहो, लेकिन मेरा सिस्टम डाउन नहीं होगा. My business continuity will remain there, and I will never go to disaster recovery. Where if I go to disaster recovery, the money spent is huge and impact is huge. Am I right, sir? So we all need to understand these technologies are there to help us. And somebody asked a question to sir about training about the NCC cadets. I'll say, Indian Air Force has started this training of IW professional, we don't say cyber professional. Way back in 2016, we had a school, which I hope that will become a college or university in Bangalore, called IW School, where we train all air warriors for basic information warfare, for advanced warfare, and specifically we plan courses for senior officers so they understand and appreciate. Because generally the problem in the corporate is this: the chief information security officer doesn't go to the board meetings and nobody understands him, and the money is all awarded to them. So we call them, the CISO's objectives should align with the business objectives, then only they will get some certain funding. Am I right? So the same thing is happening in the Indian Air Force, and I'm sure Army in MCT does the same, Navy does the same. We are training people, but you have given me a very good input. Now the NCC, because I'm training from Data Security Council of India, I will look at how I train these guys, because I'm training school children. We are catching on 6th and 7th standard boys and girls who go all over the countryside, and generally the schools which are government school not aided by the government or they have got good money. So we generally target those girls and boys. And one more thing I will, in this forum I will tell you, all the girls, I'm talking about the girls, who have BTech in IT, we pick them and we train them 6 months on cyber security from the DSCI side. And these girls are doing wonderful because IT में jobs नहीं है, but cyber security where people are needed and they are wonderfully well. You can read the story on the LinkedIn about these girls. Now the point which about the cadets, as sir has mentioned, how you can join forces, but I'm not sure that any cyber security program is being done for these people especially. So we need to think on that line that we open a school, or maybe the Air Force can take on this in the IW school with the capacity. You require instructors also. It cannot just you pump and people can train. You require people who can train them. So I think this is a point which can be taken up with the Air Force as well as the MCT, where the NCC cadets can be given a chance to create those kind of cyber warriors which are needed in plenty. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So adding on to that, what you asked, right? So last year we were working closely with the NSCS when General Pant was there, and there was this discussion we were having wherein General Manjeet said there is a requirement of 50 lakh cyber professionals in India.
True.
Considering we were at 1.4 that time.
Yeah.
Now a year later, I'm sure the number would have increased as well.
Yes.
So definitely there's a dire need of cybersecurity professionals in the country, considering the landscape and the population we have and the kind of critical infrastructure we have. So definitely, I'm sure NSCS is doing something to bridge the gap. And that's why my next question was coming to you, sir. That you think that there's enough encouragement happening for cross-functional upscaling within the military, especially in the Navy?
Okay, I will not speak only for the Navy because I come from the Defense Cyber Agency. So I will talk about the entire cyber ecosystem of the Defense Forces. I think we have started taking multiple steps towards, a multifaceted but a joint approach to our to cyber. In this respect, we have come out with a joint cybersecurity policy. That's a maiden joint cybersecurity policy that applies to all the 3 services and IDS. Training is an important part, which is part of this policy. I think a lot more needs to be done to attract good talent, especially as far as cyber is concerned. And possibly the way we have our present intake, through our normal course, normal, academies, etc., may not work out because, as some of the other panelists said, we need mavericks to be doing this kind of a job. And someone who goes through the academy, drill and PT, probably forgets all the cyber if he's done something in school. So we need to pick out this talent and hire them, get them directly to work with us. So a lot of public-private partnership and as well as direct powers to directly, utilize this kind of manpower, HR that is available in the country. This is something that is the need of the hour, and we're working on ways that we can do this.
Thank you, sir. So talking about public and private partnership and collaboration, where is the industry is equipped to actually support, and what kind of advancements and technologies are coming in where you feel from the industry perspective, defense sector could be supported?
I think over last 7-8 years, a lot of progress has been made on the public-private part of it when it comes to scaling piece of it. A lot of benefit of it is going to academia right now. You see, even in India, the education programs have evolved now to run a full-fledged BTech degree in cybersecurity, which was not there probably 4 or 5 years back, but now that's there. What we are also seeing is that most of the technical institutes, as of now, are also establishing, with the help of the private institutions or organizations like Coordinate, establishing a separate cybersecurity labs in their environments, so that the students can leverage those pieces available to them and then probably use their hands-on activities to train themselves, skill themselves. Another piece that we are seeing from public and private partnership perspective is probably equipping the organizations to fight the cybersecurity better by giving them advanced information, and that's where the exchange of intelligence piece. So in these areas, we are of course making have made a lot of progress when it comes to public-private partnerships. There is another area where we are seeing the public-private partnership, which is primarily in the responding to attacks. See, when you are under attack, you would want all hands on deck at that point in time. You would want everyone to be getting in as much information as possible, which can be useful at that point in time. And that's where the public-private partnership is also coming into place. I've seen cases where we work with the organizations. Our incident response teams are also involved to work with them and basically mitigate the attacks per se. Coming back to the defense forces per se, I think from defense perspective, I remember close to about 20 years back when was the first establishment, which was ACSC, Army Cybersecurity Establishment, which was set up. I remember one of such events that happened at USI Auditorium, and I was also one of the speakers at that point in time. They used to conduct regular, sessions, inviting the public-private organizations like Coordinate. I was working with a different organization at that point in time, but it's still cybersecurity. And they used to invite those early in career officers and run those 2 days, 3 days workshop primarily to skill them further. It was not a detailed training, but that has now come to a situation where there are detailed courses and trainings are available. So much so that you can also get into the exercises of red teaming and blue teaming, where you can get the teams to work as attackers and one team to work as a defender. And that's all happening with the public-private partnerships that we are seeing. I think we've come a long way. There's still a lot of work to be done, primarily to bring in education at below K-12 level, where the private institutions, private organizations can actually contribute as well. So still, I believe, it's a lot of work to be done from our side as well as from the organizations on the other side.
Thank
I
you.
can add to what he has said. DSCI runs a National Center of Excellence for Cybersecurity Enterprises. I've got around 350 plus startups, all youngsters coming from engineering colleges. They are doing so much work, and we are incubating products at various IITs and ISCs at tier 2 colleges. So DSCI does this part, and this is funded by the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. So anybody who has any idea that they can create a product of cybersecurity, I'm saying, so we are there to support it. Because this is very important to have when we talk about Atmanirbharta in the earlier session. Atmanirbharta in this domain is very, very critical. Because all these devices, whether say ICT, whether you are talking about the critical infrastructure, a lot of equipment goes from abroad, right? We are buying those equipment, whether it is from US or China, it doesn't matter. Because how do we trust those devices? Because we know about these things. So this is very important that our professionals who are in this domain, they create products which can go into our critical information infrastructure. That's it. Thank you.
Sir, DSA also runs a Cyber Shiksha
Yes,
program.
yes. वो मैंने बताया अभी आपको.
हाँ जी. So that also is supporting a lot of
Yes.
girls, especially, and that is an amazing program. I've worked on it as well.
Great.
General Nandare, my question to you is: are we really Atmanirbhar when it comes to being cyber safe?
No, we are not. Now the point is, firstly, when you said training the girls, cyber is gender agnostic.
I thought you put a program.
We do it. I'm probably just on the lighter side. But let me tell you, what is the end goal of cyber activists? I'm talking of those who want to steal data. So one is that you make them work hard to steal your data. Second is you are so generous you offer your data. Now, what kind of education do you need except understanding that this is something which is precious, I must protect it. And that is what in the earlier days, even our parents who are not degree holders, but at least they could tell us what is Shatru Bodh. They could tell you that, look, this is something which you need to protect. I think this is a consciousness that needs to come up in society, and every possible family, educational society, or an organization where you are, you need to ensure that. The next part is, I'm not being an alarmist where you say that everything is gone. So again, this part we must understand. If a few websites are defaced, doesn't mean that your data has been stolen. Websites will be defaced. These are like your compound walls on which somebody writes nonsense from outside and goes away. But what is really scary is if they enter the gate and come and steal things from a house. So please, let's divide that very clearly. One more thing which is important is, and this is not from being looking at only security, but especially important is if they are able to get into your database. One is you can lose your data, and second is they can just poison their data and leave. All your decision making thereafter is going to be on wrong data. So that is what we should be careful of. So data integrity has to be checked even if you feel that your data is accurate and safe. So that is for practitioners. And the relevant portion here is there are certain things like cyber network operations or cyber operations and cyber network exploitation. These are two different things. It is not that everyone is a hacker or everyone is destroying everything. So even those who are hackers, some will come and do a lot of destruction and leave a trail of devastation behind them. So you know that you've been attacked. More dangerous is somebody who's sitting in the server, sitting in your system, and every day just collecting information. So this second part is more dangerous. And that is where all the apex level organizations have to be extra careful that what you are getting every day is possibly one of that copy dropping into your adversary's office, and they know exactly, and that's what, if others are doing to us, we are also doing to them.
I just add on a few things. One, I think issue of stealing came up multiple times. Just want to tell you that the biggest challenge which we face is that our citizens are not aware of the challenges on the cyber domain. So how do we address this? So we started addressing the school children. I think the awareness has to start right from the childhood, when at school levels we can tell them about the intricacies, the challenges in cyberspace. So very recently, this month, the UGC has come out with a largish booklet to make the school children aware of the challenges in cyberspace. We are also looking at skilled professionals who can be groomed in the system. A lot of demand for cyber professionals. So I think mention was made about BTech courses in cybersecurity. Now they need not be, some of these elite institutions like the IITs, they follow a competitive mode of exam selection system through the JEE, etc. Now we needed to have a different pattern for selection of cyber professionals. So can we look at a different approach to selecting these boys and girls in this domain? So that is being attempted. Very soon we'll have some of our institutions doing BTech courses in cybersecurity through a different methodology, adopting a different, maybe a hackathon. As if you win a hackathon like this, then you get admission into an IIT or another institution. So these are the methods which we are actually looking at. Now there are, for more skilled professionals, we are looking at MTechs in computer science on specific areas. Now also understand that I think Vivek mentioned about IT and OT systems. Now OT is a very vast area because there are multiple flavors of cyber. It can be for the financial sector, it can be for the transportation sector, it can be for energy sector. Now all of them have different demands of cybersecurity requirements. So now how do you make them do? So can we have focused MTech cybersecurity programs which are sector specific? That also is something which we are looking at. And at the final thing, I think that time has come. I keep mentioning this. We're trying to push for a cybersecurity university. We require actually multiple ones which can actually teach. It can also assist us in policy formulation, looking at various vulnerabilities, some of the threat actors which Vivek mentioned in his presentation. Now, can you go into more in-depth analysis of this? Can we see how technology is being used to actually change the flavor of cyber attacks? So all these universities which are going to come up very soon. But I think these are all work in progress at this point of time. But I would tell the national, the NCC cadets here, National Cadet Corps is a wonderful opportunity. We are actually using the National Cadet Corps to build cyber hygiene awareness amongst the population. That's something which we're just starting. That initiative is just about to begin. I'm sure the cadets themselves will acknowledge that many of the IITs now have NCC units as part of it. This was not there earlier. Some of the technical institutions were not part of the NCC community. So that has started. So some of these endeavors are on, but as I mentioned, they're all work in progress.
Thank you, sir. I had one last question because I think I've been given a signal over the time. The question was to you, sir, that we're talking about skilling, reskilling, and upskilling of military personnel. What about their families? Because they are also one of the most vulnerable aspects of security. So what skilling, upskilling, and reskilling are we doing for them?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. In fact, what we have observed over the last few years is that the families are being selectively targeted by our adversaries to extract information, and inadvertently, because of the spread of social media, children and they tend to give out certain information that should be avoided. So a lot of our effort does go in to make children studying in schools, Navy, Army, Air Force schools more aware. We run programs for them. There are capsules being run for them, as well as we as the cyber groups and the cyber agency, we visit all the commands and units, etc. And continuously, there's a continuous process wherein we keep educating and keep raising the awareness levels. Ultimately, it's a national endeavor, and the defense services are part of the national ecosystem. And I think, as NCC sir mentioned, there has to be a national program which makes cyber training, cyber awareness training a mandatory subject for all children, K to 12, and that's when overall our awareness levels will go on, become better. This is a huge risk, but it is being tackled. At least at the services level, it is being tackled.
I think I can add on this. From 2013 onwards, I'm doing this cyber awareness campaign for ladies of Air Force. And very interestingly, I was educating NTPC ladies a week back. This month is a cyber security awareness month. And I was feeling like I've gone back to my old days of Afwa, when you are getting these kind of invite. And interestingly, whenever I go for a talk in COR, in the evening in the officers' mess, they will catch me for the ladies and kids. And I've been doing it. This is not a structured training, but it's very, very important for the ladies how to be cyber safe while they are. Because today, everybody is online. Lifeline has become online. You will agree with me. And everybody is, sitting with the smartphone, buying a refrigerator or asking for gulab jamun or Swiggy or whatever you call it. So morning till evenings, since the morning when you sit on the throne and you go for sleep, you are totally engaged with this cyber world. So it is very important that each one of us should be cyber aware and what can be done to you by these digital platforms and it can harm you. Thank you.
Two small points in the end. You know, the entire younger and the senior generation should be aware of this online gaming. The moment somebody falls into that trap, you've actually opened the gates. So that is one point. Secondly is these online surveys. These are also extremely dangerous because thereafter your device can be captured. And let me tell you that two serious such instances I can quote. One was when G20 was happening. There were a lot of attacks which took place, and I think it is General Nayar's success. Everything went smoothly. And the second one was when Ram Mandir was being at Ayodhya was being inaugurated. Maximum number of cyber attacks which the country must have faced was during these two instances. So we don't expect the government only to be protecting us. All of us have to have cyber hygiene. Before you get a vehicle, don't you look at a license? So before parents buy a smartphone for a child, don't you think that there has to be a kind of family consensus that you maintain cyber hygiene? If your personal hygiene is important, so is your cyber hygiene.
I'm sure industry must be having a lot of programs.
The point comes to a very simple, basic piece that we all have gone through. Right when we got into the education, pieces, road safety, fire safety. These were the chapters that we all read. I think time has come that we start with cyber safety as a chapter with all these students.
I'm sure you must be having some CSR programs wherein you would be educating school children and like how we have the road safety and traffic safety and all of those things. These things could be incorporated. I thank all the panelists for being here today. I request Major General B.K. Sharma, DJ USI, to please come up.
Good morning, everybody. I don't want to sum up, but I just wanted to bring to your notice, particularly the panelists here, some work which USI is doing in the arena of cybersecurity. Firstly, we have a Center for Cyber Excellence, which has a cyber forensics, data spectrum wall, and we are in the process of creating a cyber range there. And we have die-hard professionals who are working 24/7 on that. Now, how are we applying this whatever facility that we have created? Firstly, about 2 years ago, we conducted a red teaming exercise for 4 Quad countries under the aegis of National Investigation Agency, wherein we played a couple of terrorism scenarios. And mostly the dark web, the dark net, and all these kind of things were brought into play, to maintain that secrecy. That is one. Second, recently we conducted the courses for the Indian Armed Forces officers on deepfake. So that is another facility that we have. The third thing, we've been continuously doing strategic gaming exercises at the National Defense College, war colleges, wherein we are bringing the cyber and the space very much as part of the disruptive technology in the overall campaigning. Now, we have also got some CSR wherein we are doing the cyber responders program, wherein we are training maybe the military, the Army Welfare Education Society guys, NCC, and probably we'll reach out to the RWAs, how to sort of, react and educate your own people about cyber hygiene and safety measures. So my request to you is that General Nayar is aware about what facility we have and even Defense Cyber Agency. Make use of a platform like USI to spread this awareness within the armed forces, their families, and NCC and others. We are available, so please do make use of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I believe we had 2 questions from the audience. We have very limited time, so I request you to please.
So I have a question from General Nayar regarding I'm Wing Commander Kulwant, serving Air Headquarters. We have something called as Security Operations Center, which is looking after the cyber part of the AFNet. It was the tip of the iceberg, which I see that 20% of the attack is towards the government organization. So is there any Security Operations Center working as an apex level at the government level? Why I'm asking this because once we see any government site, nothing is standardized. All the sites, plethora of information is available. So though there is no standardization. So is there a Security Operations Center who's controlling all the websites of the government? Is there something firewall or something is working at the place? Because once you get into the sites, you will find everything is there, everything is open. So is something of that kind of nature as there at the apex level, I mean at the government level?
Thank you, Kulwant. I think it's a very valid question actually. I mentioned to you that our digital public infrastructure is growing so rapidly, and my job as a National Cybersecurity Coordinator is a major challenge, considering the fact that what you mentioned is absolutely correct. So till about a few months back, there was no clear-cut responsibilities within the various ministries on who should be responsible for cybersecurity, other than what the MeitY had in terms of the certain. So now there's a clear-cut gazette, there's a Government of India notification which clear-cut lays down which ministry is responsible for cybersecurity, that is telecom, the networks which are actually carrying all our information. They are, the DoT is responsible for the security of the telecom networks, the MeitY is responsible for the cybersecurity in terms of the IT net law which is already there. The Ministry of Home will be responsible for the cybercrime, and the entire coordination and giving a strategic direction to cybersecurity is the responsibility of the NSCS. So this has now come. This is the first step towards strengthening the ecosystem. There is a National Cybersecurity Coordination Center which has been in the making for some time, which is under the MeitY and certain this point of time. You mentioned about the National Cyber Situational Awareness Center. So that's something which we are planning and which should come through in a few years. So it's been in the offing for some time, but it's work in progress. So let me assure you that it's not as bad as what you actually feel. Many times, there are cybersecurity incidents, plethora of it all over, but there is a lot of back-end action which takes place, and you may not know how many incidents have we actually protected the country and the citizens from. So like what he mentioned, General Khandare mentioned about the G20 or Ram Mandir inauguration time. Now these are things which nobody would even come to know about. So there is a lot of positivity, let me assure you, there is a lot of hope, but there is a lot of work to be done too, that I concede. And let me also tell you that all ministries are on board on this, a lot of activities taking place. It also covers financial sector, all of them have sector regulators who are looking at cybersecurity today. So a lot of work is in progress at this point of time. I think you can ask the next question, please. I think I took your
Sir, my question is to General Khandare. Sir, basically, if we look at our adversaries, so Chinese have reverse engineered complete box. Reverse engineering is very popular these days. So if we see on those sites, we are still using foreign apps or foreign protection services. We are using Fortinet, we are using Qualys, this, that. We are using everything that is foreign made even today in our infrastructure. We don't have any indigenous thing. So do you think at a later stage, this could be a source of concern? My second question to add on to that is, like, TA this year held the Capture the Flag event. Last month it had held a Capture the Flag event, and it attracted a lot of audience within the public. So we see in Israel, we see in US, in UK, Capture the Flag events are very popular, and it attracts a lot of talent, especially in capturing the flags, those vulnerabilities, everything. So do you think we can incorporate more events throughout the year like this to attract the talent so that they can physically interact with the systems? Thank you.
Thank you so much. In fact, your point is exactly what I started by saying, that talent spotting is extremely important. Is talent spotting restricted to events, or is talent spotting far widespread, so that society can earmark and say, here in our school or here in our family, there is somebody who's outstanding. Most of the talent is in the younger age group. The younger age group still hasn't reached the colleges. So I think as a society, we have to start looking at talent spotting. That is the first part of the question, the answer. The second one is about the apps that are to be made. I am flanked by two gentlemen whose responsibility is this. You understand what I said? And in addition to that, in the civil sector, in the private sector, you have to be very agile in making apps which are popular and apps which are for convenience, as well as apps which are there to get you strategic capture. So, like for example, if Chinese apps are there, they are not so much for your convenience, but to capture your data, capture your attention. So these two things obviously have to be done by public-private sector together, and that's what the flanking gentlemen are doing. Now, most of it will not be disclosed here, because when we leave such organization, we sign that if I disclose something, my pension will stop.
We'll take one last question from the gentleman there.
I might sound a little critical. All this appears to be Delhi centric. If you look at the UGC, for example, it has nothing to do with the schools. Most state boards are blissfully unaware about cybersecurity and teaching that in the syllabus. Similarly, if you're looking at private public participation, take the police establishment, for example. You'll have a DSP or an SSP being transferred from one point to another, suddenly becomes in charge of a cybersecurity cell. I do not know what kind of training that person has. There is no private participation in any of this, especially in the police system. Is the government open enough to take persons who have nothing to do with the government service, no formal entry, into your cybersecurity cell network? And I'm not very sure if it is possible.
Firstly, for the audience, let me tell you, the person who has asked the question, Paranjpe sir, has been the one who has designed the entire syllabus, who has pushed the government to revise the entire books, and he's still at it. And sir, when you ask us, especially for the government, yes, there are problems as far as the police and others and the way the things are moving. And in fact, Dr. Mrinma is here. She's the one who first engaged with the NIA and the local police people to engage them and educate them. I'm not talking of awareness. She actually educated them as to how to do business with the new warfare, which is with the biological and chemical thing. So a lot needs to be done. I just wanted to put the panel at ease as to who's the person asking, and then I can take on the answer now.
So your question is absolutely valid. I mentioned to you, sir, it's taken the UGC has got nothing to do with the schools, but at least some institution has come out with a document which can actually be spread amongst the. In fact, it's meant for the children's. They have actually called it children. It could be right till the college level too. And let me also tell you, sir, that pushing it is also a challenge because our system doesn't accept such new ways of teaching or learning. So that's one thing. But all of us are citizens. Now, aren't we all responsible ourselves for this particular cybersecurity awareness? Now, do we teach our children? Now, I'm sure, please, you're all on Google. All of you have smartphones. Look at a new law which is proposed in Australia, where they said that children will not have access to social media platforms till a particular age. Now, this is the kind of debate which is going on in a country like Australia. Now, do we have, in our family, do we limit our children's exposure to smartphones today? No, we have to look at ourselves. Our society is like this. So if that be so, can we start at the school children, address it as a part of our school curriculum? Probably start there. Yes. Law enforcement agencies have, it's a major challenge for us because the degree of preparedness for tackling cybercrime our law enforcement agencies today are not properly equipped with it. So many states have started public-private partnerships there. They have taken a lot of private firms for assisting them in their investigation into their forensics analysis, etc., etc. So these are all initiatives which have been taken by some state governments, which we have a federated structure. So it is there in our system. Yes, it will take a little time for it to mature, but I'm sure with the new acts coming up, like the DPDP Act, which I'm sure the children can actually Google, And you'll see that the data privacy is a major concern in future. But when they become effective through the rules which will come up shortly, I think we will have an ecosystem which is, I don't say perfect, but more secure than what's existing today. So that's what we should do. And understand that we all have to play a major game in this, major part in this game. Thank you.
So just I would like to add, we have opened a cybercrime investigation and training research at CIT headquarters, Bangalore, Karnataka. So DSCI is training the law enforcement agency professionals, our police guys. It is actually sitting in the police headquarters itself, sir. And I'm very proudly sharing with you, it's a very world-class digital forensics lab. And we are teaching all the judges, advocates, and the police people, and also from the armed forces. So we are trying to do our bit on that part, as you asked. And this is a center of excellence which you can visit anytime, sir. We don't charge any fees. And then the program is houseful. For entire year we are engaged on that. Thank you, sir.
But if you can just answer, he said this is Delhi centric.
No, it is not Delhi centric. It is a Karnataka thing I am saying. Another thing, sir, I'll say. No, I'll add on, sir. We have got another center of excellence in Hyderabad, Telangana government we are doing there. So it is not that as DSCI is not Delhi centric. I'm talking about this part. And the government is also doing, we are doing collaborating with the government on many things, which we are trying to put across for the people, for making them aware in this domain. We require two types of people, sir. One, sir, has already mentioned, we are living in a hyper-connected world. We all need to have some cyber hygiene within ourselves. We are not expert. Is this something like, आपको किसी ने स्कूल के टाइम सिखाया खाना कैसे, दाढ़ी कैसे बनानी है, तेल कैसे लगाना है, प्रेजेंटेबल कैसे होना है. तो इस डिजिटल एग्जॉस्ट चल रहा है और डिजिटल वर्ल्ड में आप रह रहे हैं. तो एक तो ये है कि हर व्यक्ति को डिजिटल के बारे में जानना जरूरी है. वो जिम्मेदारी सिर्फ गवर्नमेंट की नहीं, उनके पेरेंट्स की भी है कि जो पहले आया है वो डेफिनेटली जो बाद में आ रहा है उससे थोड़ा सा ज्यादा जानता है. आई एम नॉट सेइंग कि वो उससे बेटर जानता है, बट उससे पहले जानता है. आपके बाप ने आपको चलना सिखाया. दिस इज वन पार्ट. Second comes to the people who are technically competent to protect our IT infrastructure. These two trainings are different. Then experts and the users. A person who is using a computer need not be an expert. But the person who is protecting this computer network has to be a super duper expert. And for that, Bhandari sir has already mentioned, it is not necessary to hold a degree in cyber domain to become a cyber expert. We have got guys, I've got guys who are working, doing cyber crime. उनको उठा लिया हमने, आज वो गवर्नमेंट के लिए काम करता है और बढ़िया काम करता है. Thank you very much.
If I may add, just for probably 10-15 seconds. So, primarily from the infrastructural, projects of government when it comes to police and other forces. I will not take names, but there are umpteen number of projects with multiple governments that we have, partnered with, that we have executed, wherein one core aspect of the project was to build the skill set and, build the capacity of the people as well on working on it. Starting from security operations centers to building the cyber range kind of a simulation setups where these professionals, government professionals get trained. Some states are way ahead, some states are still behind, some ministries are still working on it. But trust me, sir, in the last 5-7 years, phenomenal amount of work has happened. I'll tell you the quality of the professionals that we have on cybersecurity in government organizations and multiple different agencies. I will not take name, probably I can have a separate conversation. We are working with them very closely. It's phenomenal. They're world class. The kind of work that they do today is unmatchable. The kind of skill set that we are seeing here in India as well. So a lot of work has been done from government perspective as well. Many of it does not come out. You will see a lot of cyber crimes are getting solved, and the results are also coming in because, as I said, some states are way ahead. They've taken the lead. They build their security operations center and skill development centers as well. So good work is happening, sir.
Thank you so much. I thank all the panelists for their time. And thank you everyone for being such an interactive audience. And if we have any questions, we can take it later. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Very honored to give this.
I will.